And that is a part of our goal this morning, to examine where we are and to make a deliberate attempt to move to that place where we want to be. I don't know how many of you make plans and goals, and then a year later you say, yeah, I was supposed to do that. I just didn't get around to it. If that describes you, give me a thumbs up. I know most of you are at work or wherever, and so it's okay if you don't put on your camera. I am totally okay with that. Few things I want you to do for me though. You will need a notebook. Any notebook will do. Get a notebook. And I want you to personalize your notebook. Personalize your notebook. Take this notebook and go ahead and put a cover on it. You could just get a white typing sheet or something like that. Put a cover on it, and I want you to put on in front here, my journey to wellness. Some people are great designers, decorators, so you have fun. Go ahead and do what you need to do with your book. This will be your journey, and you're going to be writing down your journey to wellness. So you will need to, if you don't have one, make one, grab a book, okay? And this is what we will be using for the next 7 days and beyond. And I say beyond because even when we're done in the next 7 days, I implore you to continue journaling and write down your journey. Today, I'll be sharing with you some amazing stories from people who have gone on this journey. And it gives me great joy when I can get the feedback and read some of what they have written and care to share with you and because I have permission from them to go ahead and share it without using their names. And so we want to jump right in on this great journey this morning. And if you're excited to get started on this journey to wellness, I want you to give me a thumbs up. Just look for the reaction button to the bottom of your screen and give me a thumbs up. Just give me a thumbs up while we dive right in to this journey on wellness. Okay? And so, one of the first thing we want to do if we're going to go on a journey, we're going to go there light. You don't want to go on a journey and then you're taking, you know, I don't know how many of you travel, but you get to the airport and they say you can only take so much pounds. And then you start searching around and wondering, what can I leave? What can I take? What should I do? What? So we're going to start working on this journey. And the first thing we want to do is talking about finding balance. And the only way really to find balance is to create it. There is no other way to find balance except to create it. Create the balance you need in your life. That balance with friends, your health, your career, your family. You must be deliberate in your attempt to find and create this balance that you need in your life. This is the only way that you are going to be well. And so, your goal today, I want you to tell yourself that your goal is to move from unconscious to conscious living, to building that life where you don't need a vacation from. How many of you, like me, find yourself constantly saying, I need a vacation? I need a break. But guess what I find? It doesn't matter if I decide I need a break and I take one, because wherever I go, guess who's there? There I am, stressful me, tired me, miserable me, but I'm on a vacation and I'm paying for it too. And that's the hard part, right? And so when you think of it, it requires that we don't need a vacation, if we're honest. We start looking at conscious living. Conscious living. The mind is a funny thing. And the mind, if we really look at it, is so deep. I look at it as a vast repository, and it allows you to just do away with, rid of feelings, things you don't want to deal with. You could just push it to the back of your mind, right? How many of you that describes you. You push things to the back of your mind, and unpleasant thoughts arrive. You push that to the back of your mind. I don't want to deal with that. Let me distract myself. Something you know you have to deal with, push that to the back of my mind. And you develop this pattern to the point where your life becomes a series of unconscious choices, behavior, and you're only doing those things that allows you to cope, to get by. But right behind that veil of unconscious living that we insist on is that is the many thing the are the many things that we push here. And guess what? Sometimes they push back. Sometimes they push back to the point where it feels overwhelming. And I've known people who have what they call a nervous breakdown. You know what a nervous breakdown really is? And please use the chat and let's talk. You may not be able to talk live if you don't feel like, but you could just use the chat and drop. You know what a nervous breakdown really is? I'm not a psychologist, but I believe a nervous breakdown is the result of years and years of unconscious living, not dealing with the things that we know how to deal with. Years and years of putting up a facade, of pretending that our lives are glorious and we are doing well. For many years, I lied to myself about how well I was doing. That's what I told myself. I was doing well. I was not doing well. What I was doing was coping. What I was doing was pushing things to the back of my agenda, things that really should be dealt with. But they're uncomfortable and they're difficult and it takes time. And who wants to deal with these difficult circumstances and situations and conversations? Those are some big ones. But conscious living requires that we do just that. And only way, it's the only way that we will be rid of these emotional baggages that we carry around. So let's do a little baggage check. This is where, if you had your journal, you would start writing. Now, if you don't have it, just grab a piece of paper. Or if you have your phone and you want to make notes on your phone, you could do that. And let's do a baggage check before we continue on this journey. Because the heavier the baggage, it's going to weigh you down. There's a reason why the plane says, hey, only 50 pounds. Because if everybody on that plane decides this is the amount of weight I'm taking, the plane will not be able to soar. And we know how beautiful that is when the plane is balanced and it's soaring in the sky. So let's do a baggage check. What we are going to do right now is to think of the things that weigh you down. This might be a little difficult for you. And so, if you don't want to do it now, maybe later you can write down these activities and say, okay, this evening I'm going to spend a little time reflecting and I'm going to do some of them. And so, you want to do a baggage check and you want to be honest about yourself, about the things that weigh you down. What are some things that weigh me down? What are some things that cause me to feel heavily burdened? Some things that I'm not dealing with well. You want to do that. You want to know. You want to come face to face with your reality. This is not the time to escape from them. For me, some of those things would be, raising children, it's very difficult. So it would be a teenage child. It's not a baggage as such because our children are a gift from God. But the fact how we're dealing with it becomes the baggage because we push it behind. We don't deal with it well. Some other baggages could be the way you're dealing with your finances. They're weighing you down. It could be some unhealthy relationships that are weighing you down. Identify those baggages. What are those baggages that you need to be ridding yourself of before you can go on your journey to wellness? Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Those baggages. right? We're at the airport. We want to go, we want to go, we want to go. But we have to stop first and we have to deal with the baggage. We want to deal with the baggage so we can be free. We can be free to soar. The next thing you want to do is examine your thought life. You want to think about thinking. You don't want to escape those unpleasant thoughts. And so, something I want you to also do when you're able to, if you're at work, this is not the best place to do this. You want a quiet space and you want to think about what are those things that consumes your thoughts? What are the things you find yourself thinking about and stressing about daily? What are some of these things? What are they? You want to be mindful of these. What consumes your mind? Because what consumes your mind controls your life. So what are these things that consume your mind? Think about them, write them down. What am I constantly worried about? What am I constantly thinking about? Is it my health? Is it my weight? Is it my finances? Is it my family? Is it my relationships? What are those things that constantly consume my mind? You want to be mindful of that as well. So, those are two things we need to do before we can go on the journey. The next thing you want to do is to start identifying your emotional patterns. What are those patterns? Are you an emotional roller coaster? Give me a thumbs up if this describes you. For many, many years, I was like this. One minute, I happy, 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 happy as can be. I can't sing, so I'm not singing when I'm happy, but I happy. And the next moment, I just feel depressed and down and miserable and yelling at people and don't want to be bothered. And then I'm anxious and then I'm happy again. And then I wondered why people didn't understand me. I was like, I'm so easy to get along with. Why do you misunderstand me? Who can understand you if your emotions are a constant whirlwind, if it's a roller coaster? And this is not healthy. And I had to learn this. And so you want to identify your emotions and don't run away from them, identify them. Because at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? Why am I anxious? And oftentimes we feel a certain way, but we don't go deeper. We don't go deeper and we don't say, why? But why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling depressed? Why am I denying how I feel? Even if it's a good feeling, you want to know why. Why am I so happy? Hmm, hmm. Why am I so happy? There must be a reason. So identify your emotions. This is another thing you want to do as you get ready on this journey. All right? Give me a thumbs up if you are able to do this. All right? Commit to doing it. This is a commitment for the next 7 days if you are going on this journey. Right? Stay on the journey. Stay on the journey. Even when the road get bumpy, you're already on the path. You don't turn back. You keep going. You keep going on this journey so that you can be well. There's also something that you want to know, that life is not a marathon. Life is a marathon. It is not a sprint. One of the reasons that we feel so stressed out, so overwhelmed most of the time is that we are sprinting. I don't know if you are familiar with runners or running, but sprint means the pace is always intense. The pace is intense and you keep going and going and going. If life is if you live 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, how can you sustain this sprint? Sprint is short term. People who sprint, they'll sprint 100 yards, maybe 500 yards. They don't sprint in a marathon. And life friends, it's a marathon. And so in a marathon, we should be pacing ourselves. But how many of you, like me, find that you keep going and going and going? And it's an endless quest to get things done, to keep moving. I truly started to enjoy and live my best life when I learned how to slow down. People in my life will tell you that I was always going. I I had to learn how to walk slow. I don't know how to walk slow. I can't talk slow. I can't walk slow. To eat, I'm like done because my mind is constantly going and going. And, and then I started to feel sick because we can't continue like that. There is no way on God's green earth that we could continue like that. And I had to slow down. I had. There was no choice. I had to slow down. We cannot continue to live life as if it was a sprint. It is a marathon and it requires that we slow down. Tell yourself right now, I need to slow down. I need to slow down. Drop it in the chat. If that describes you, just drop it in the chat and say, I need, type it slowly. Don't even type it fast. Type it slowly. I need to slow down. It's okay. It's okay. Because slow is not worse. Sometimes we think, but if I slow down, I have so much to do. Once you make it on this journey and you realize that even in that slow pace, because your mind is so much more focused and so clear, and you are well, that you will do much more and the quality will be of an even higher quality because you have slowed down. So don't be worried that you slow down. When I started learning to slow down, you know what kicked in? Anxiety. I was like, no, I can't slow down. I've got things to do, lots of things to do. I should be doing something right now. I should not be taking a break. I should not be slowing down. I was anxious. Now I'm enjoying slowing down. And in those times when I slow down, I invest them in self care, taking care of me or the things I love to do in those space where I gave up pushing and going and going and going. Am I still accomplishing my goals? You bet. Am I healthier and happier? You bet. And all because I learned to slow down. Because you know what's going to happen eventually if you don't learn to slow down? You're going to crash. You are going to crash. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So slow down. Yes, I see you in the chat. Slow down, slow down, slow down, right? Slow down. Just tell yourself, even if you don't put it in the chat, write it in your notebook. I need to slow down. If your body could speak, what would it say to you right now? Don't tell me if you don't feel like sharing. This is a personal journey. I would love to hear from some of you. But what will your body say? What will your body say if it could speak to you right now? What will it be telling you? Would it be saying, stop, or I need water, I need rest, I need you to love me more? What would your body be saying if your body could talk right now? And it talks, we just don't listen. So, what is your body saying to you? What is your body? And there's only one way to find out. That's to slow down. If you keep going, 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 your body's talking and you're not listening. And sadly, sometimes when we do stop to listen, it's because we're in a crisis. We're in a bed in the hospital. We've been diagnosed with some illness that could have been avoided had we listened to our bodies a long time ago. So if your body speaks, listen. When you are driving, and even if you don't drive, you've rode in a bus or something, you reach a stop sign. You reach the lights. There's green, there's yellow, there's red. When you reach the lights is an indication that you must do one of three things. And the red light says stop. So if we stop at the traffic sign, why is it that we don't stop for life? We don't stop when the sign when our body says stop, we just say, ah, man, okay, I could go some more, just a little more. I have more to do. I'll stop when I'm done. You're never done. You're never done. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so we're never done. And I painted this picture for you because I wanted you to understand why we are where we are today, why we're stressed, why we're not well, why we feel the need to just escape, why we're frustrated. Why is it that we're not able to give to those that need us? Why is it that we are drained most of the time? And it's for many of those reasons that I just outlined. If at any time you want to share anything, please go ahead, raise your hand, and we can stop. And I love to hear from you. Okay? I want to hear from you. So if you want to share anything at any point, just tell me. Okay? Yes, Alice, I see that. Be careful. Be careful. That's what your body might be saying, right? And thank you, guys. You need to slow down. Yes, we all need to slow down. Just slow down. Pace yourselves. Pace yourselves. So let's start looking at some self care. And we want to do this by asking ourselves, where am I on my to do list? Where are you on your to do list? Are you a priority? Are you putting yourselves higher on your to do list? Or are you lower on your to do list? Are you the type of parent or spouse who feels guilty when you take time out for yourself? When you say, okay, I need a break and I'm going, just me. Do you feel guilty that you've left everybody behind and you've taken a break for you to do something for just you? If that describes you, it could be that you're not putting yourself high on your to do list. So, we're going to do a little fun activity. And I want you to give yourself 1 point. We have 20 points total that you can accumulate. Give yourself 1 point for any of these that you've done in the last 60 days. So, over the last 60 days, which of these have you done? And give yourself 1 point for any of them. So, when was the last time you laughed out loud? Not like this, loud, right? In Creole, we say, a balahu laughing, right? When was the last time you laughed out loud? Give yourself a point. Laugh is good, laugh is therapy. You read a good book, even if it was an ebook, can't be Facebook. You read a good book. You watched a feel good movie, or you phoned a friend, just called up a friend and say, hey, how you doing? And you talk and you connect and you remember some old stories. You complimented someone, and it's genuine compliment, because people who are not self-aware, you're not able to reach out and compliment other people. You are caught up in your thoughts and in your misery and your stress, and you just keep going. Pampered yourself. You didn't have to go to the spa. You did something, like took an extra long bath, lock the bathroom door and just wash your hair. You rub your, whatever it was, what you pampered yourself. Ate an ice cream, whatever that was. You exercised. Very, very, very important. You cried, because that's therapy too. You drank a glass of wine. For those who don't drink wine, you drank a glass of, maybe a nice smoothie, or you made an extra special drink for yourself. You connected with nature, or you cuddled. Your pillow is okay too, for those of us who are single. You wrote in your journal, or you danced, you sang, you slept in late, or you went to bed early. Give yourself some points. You reminisced about the past, or you played with a child. You chew gum loudly, right? Blow up bubbles, maybe even. When last did you do that? Oh, those are childish things, Miss Neil. How can you ask me to be blowing a bubble? Come on. Well, studies show people who blow bubbles are more relaxed. That's my study. You spend quality time with family or friends. You played with your pet, or You did a hobby for those of you who don't like pets. So if you care to share, tally up your scores and just drop in the chat and tell me how many points you got. And this list is not exhaustive. There are things that you might have done that is not on this list that you made a priority. But I put together this general list because these are some of the things that we should be doing on our journey to wellness. As we get older, as we get a little more stressed, we stop sing, we stop dance, we stop, and dance doesn't mean you get dressed up and you go to whatever the nightclub is. You're mopping the house, you put on some music, sing off key, dance. Just it's the goal is to relax, is to just relax, just relax and enjoy the music. Music is it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. Do these things. Awesome. I see some of you have 10, 15, 14, 13. The goal is 10 and above. 10 and above, right? Because it means you're actually taking time for yourself. Because to do some of these things require that you are conscious. You make a conscious effort to go and exercise. You make an effort to sit down and relax and watch a movie. You make an effort to reach out to somebody, right? It's conscious. The more of these you're doing, the more conscious living you're doing. You're moving from unconscious to conscious. And we will look a little more at conscious and unconscious living as we go along. You see, the more of these things you do, it helps you to put in that balance. Because life can be like this sometimes. It feels like either a tightrope or you're juggling or you're playing dodgeball most of the time. This is what it can often feel like. And so on your journey, what I also want you to do is to take a few moments in your own time. And I want you to think about your ordinary day, a day in your life. What does a day in your life look like? How does your day go? And I want you to identify the three things that consumes the most of your day and your time. The three things that demand your attention most of the day. And when you've identified those three things and how you're spending your day, I want you to ask yourself, is there a balance? Is there a balance? Am I doing my best in trying to balance in these areas? Are there some things I could be doing differently in terms of finding my balance here? And you would be surprised to find that the answer is yes, that there are things that you can do that will make a difference in helping to find that balance that you so desire. Give it a try. I am sure you will find it rewarding when you look at how you've been unconsciously living, moving from task to task, and not building in your day those things that causes you to feel alive instead of being a robot. Those building in your day conscious moments when you stop, when you break. Yesterday I had the opportunity to do some retrospective. I spent most of the day just thinking. And at midday, I took a break and I ordered some food and I decided, you know what? It's been years, it's been a long time since I actually sat down and took an hour and had lunch. And so I was determined to enjoy my meal instead of rushing through it. And sometimes when we are working, when we're busy, this happens to us, right? We just grab a bite and go. It's like the quickest thing, the better. It's a part of unconscious living. You want to take that break sometime and just say, let the world go away. If it's going to fall down, let it fall down. But right now, I need this time. I need this time to sit down and to find my balance. I need to do this and I need to do it for me. If it means you're going to take your lunch away from work, If you're going to just leave home and go under a cool shade, if you're going to pack your lunch and go in the park and sit down for 30 minutes, whatever it is, it's a part of building in your day. Finding ways, yes, you can't stop working. If it's 8 to 5, you work. But what can I do during this 8 to 5 so that when I get home, all my energy is not depleted? Did I balance out my day? That I included some self care in that day. It's so important if you are going to continue on this journey and be well. Don't continue going and going and going. You know what's going to happen? You're going to lose that passion for work. You're going to start feeling like, man, this is a drag. Yes, it's a drag because you've not taken any time to just find that balance in your day and to do some things that involve self care. All right. Give me a thumbs up if this describes you. If you feel that indeed this is something I should be doing, I could be doing. Let's do a quick little poll here. Um, how many of you believe, in all honesty, that you're doing a great job of balancing your life and your work? How many of you believe this? Right? Just go ahead. Your name won't show. It's just going to show how many people said yes and how many people said no. How many believe that you are doing a good job or a great job of balancing both your life and your work? All right. If we're honest. All right. We have 5 more to go, two more few to vote. We have 8 out of 10, two more, one more. Let's get that final vote in. The poll closes in 8 seconds, 7 seconds. All right. If you've not voted as yet, just go ahead and drop it there. Do you think? Do you not think? Okay. I'm going to end the poll now in the interest of time, and I'm going to share with you the results. And so, as I expected, most of us, including myself, we don't feel that we are doing a great job of balancing our life and our work. To a few, congratulations. You must share with us some of the things that you're doing that helps in this finding this balance. But for most people, as you can see, it's a difficult thing. There is so much that's dragging us from here to there, and we feel the result of it is stress, unhealthy living, unhealthy eating, everything that goes along with stress. And it's as a result of having not finding that balance, right? So for those who said they did, I would love to hear from you some of what you do that helps to find that balance as we go along this journey to wellness. We start feeling stressed. How many of you, where do you carry your stress? Where do you feel that tension when you are stressed? Some people, it's in here, they have a headache, they feel their head feel tight. Some people, it's their shoulders. Drop in the chat and tell me, where do you carry your stress? Some people, it's their shoulders, your back, it feels tight, and you're like, I need a massage. I feel like I am, some people, it's in their stomach. They just start feeling queasy. They're not feeling well. Some people, it's, they can't breathe well. Stress is a result of unconscious living. Just keep going and going and going and not stopping to really think. The effects of stress on our body is huge. It affects us in so many ways. There is not one organ in our body that is immune from the effects of stress, but yet we live stressed out lives. How many of you you constantly say it? I stress out. I stress. I just feel stress. Or we start looking at people and say, "Oh, you're the stress," right? It's something we use so ordinarily and daily. And stress, it's like, okay, yes, stress is an ordinary part of your day. We can handle some stress. What we can't handle is stress on top of stress on top of stress, because it leads to burnout. It's definitely going to lead to burnout. So know your signs of stress. And when your body is telling you, I am stressed, don't keep going. Don't keep going. You want to do something. You want to stop. You want to rest. You want to just take it easy. You want to get some fresh air. You want to do something. You want to make sure you're listening to the signs of life. Your shoulder hurts. I was like, okay, hurts, but so what? I still have so much to do. Stop. Your body is saying, I am stressed. And stress means I need a break. Stress means I need to do something about it. I need to evaluate where I am. And so you want to be dealing with those stressors. You want to be identifying them and you want to know how you are going to deal with them, right? Do you know where you're stressed? Make sure you know where you're stressed. Where are you feeling stressed, right? Do you know the signs of stress? Do you know sometimes it's not the physical, it's the emotional, right? All of a sudden you're miserable. You start yelling at people. It's not because you're miserable, you're stressed. And stress has a way of doing that, right? You have these outbursts because you're stressed. You want to know what are your signs of stress. How do you react when you're stressed? And you make sure that you don't get to that point where you are so stressed out that you become the mean person in the office. You know, you're yelling at your coworkers. If you're a supervisor, worse yet, you're taking it out on others, right? I've seen that happen so much in the workplace. So know what happens when you are stressed. Study yourself, study your body. Take your time and study your body. Study your body, right? Some people are addicted to stress. They've been dealing with stress for so long that they do not know how to not be stressed. When they're not, when there's nothing going on, they look for something. They start up something, right? They go outside and they see a crumbs on the floor. This whole house dirty. Look at this house. It's a mess. Huge mess. You people don't do anything around here. And you start. Poor husband come home tired. He didn't reach the bedroom yet. He just sat in the sofa, had a really, really rough day. You go outside and you see him there relaxing. He has his foot up. Maybe the socks is on the floor. Well, you stress him out because you're stressed. And you say, man, you can't put your shoes in the room because. And the man just came home. She's going to go to the room eventually. But start identifying those signs of stress and realize that if you become addicted to stress, it's going to be a problem. And you're going to look for things to stress you out. You ever hear people, they call them drama queens? They're always looking for some drama or the other. They're addicted to the hype that comes, and they don't. That's the only way they know how to cope. If it's hype, they can't slow down. So be mindful of this. Don't be making up scenarios in your head, right? Know when to take a break. Stress is a killer, right? Stress is a killer. You do not want to deal with stress on a daily basis. So, how do you get rid of stress? How do you start living that life that you want to? Let's start our journey by looking at this. The first thing you want to do is learn how to be in the present. You want to learn how to enjoy the present instead of constantly trying to escape from the reality that is life. Now, how do we live in the present? Consider this for a moment. You go maybe to the bank. It's a payday or it's just a busy day and you go to the bank. Or you go to the grocery store because you know in COVID times the grocery store now like maybe like Brody's and the line is long and you must wait. What happens? What do you start feeling? Do you get upset? Do you get anxious? Do you, or can you sit there and say, okay, so I'm going to be here about 45 minutes. I'm going to be waiting. And so I'll wait. I'm here. Conscious living is about the present. It means that you don't try to escape to somewhere else. You're enjoying the journey as well as the destination. You're not just trying to reach somewhere because there's a whole lot happening between the journey and the destination that you miss when you are not present. If you're just trying to get from point A to point B, you have missed out on a whole lot. There's a lot going on around you when it comes to being present. and being mindful. And it allows you to see things and see people and really and truly enjoy life and all that it has to offer. Because some of the stress is because we're so absorbed in our own self and in our own being. Yesterday, um, and I talk about escaping your reality, right? And I don't know how many of you, this is a coping mechanism for many, many people. So yesterday morning, I had my day well planned out, and it didn't go as I had planned. I was very disappointed about 8 o'clock. I was so disappointed because something that I had planned out. I had envisioned this, how this day would go. I don't know if that describes you sometimes. And it just did not work out that way. So disappointed. But instead of coming face to face with this disappointment, I did what I would normally do, try to not think about it or address it. And so I picked up my phone and I said, let me scroll through Facebook, right? Distraction, distraction, love it, right? Distraction. And I came head to head with a very sad timeline. I went to my Facebook memories, and the posts were not good that day. It was the fifth anniversary of the death of one of my sons, and that was the first May. But that day, I tried not to think about it. I tried to escape it. I didn't want to deal with it. But here I was now, the day after, running away from dealing with this disappointing situation. And I came head on with this reality. And the timeline was just sadness, sadness, sadness. So now I had two things and I was cornered. And that was tough. But I appreciate what happened after that, because that reality allowed me to grieve like I should have been doing, the day before and even before that. I was not dealing with grief healthily, because guess what happens to us? Why we don't live in the present? Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the reality is tough. Life is tough. And so we escape. We escape. And I realized that I had been escaping from dealing with some of these things that were troubling me. And so I stopped. And after I grieved, after I bawled my eyes out, my eyes were like, big bawling, not ashamed to say it, big bawling. And after that, I realized there were things that I needed to forgive myself for as well. Because I know the forgiveness of God, but I don't normally forgive myself. And a lot of us do this. And I forgave myself. And that day turned out to be one of the most amazing days for me. I was able to live in the present, because after that, the things that unfolded allowed me to see that what I was doing was because I was not fully self-aware. I was not as aware as I felt I was. And so I was not able to be in the present, to enjoy life, to see people, to be compassionate, right? And I recorded the story from yesterday and I'll share the clip with you, because I felt it was so profound. But are we living in the present, or are we constantly trying to escape our reality? We need to be living in the present. Don't try to escape it. Whatever those realities are, think about them, write them down, and deal with them. Deal with them. It's the only way that you are going to be living in the present. So I want us to do an activity. It's called a body map, and it helps us to come to terms with our present realities. And so what the body map asks you to do, and you could do it now, or if you can do it later, just write it down so you could try it out. And I want you to try it out. And the body map asks you to think about an emotion. For example, love. And you think about love, or somebody you love. It could be a family member, it could be your significant other. And think about this person. Think about happy moments with this person, and you just think about them, and maybe you think about the last time, you had some good times, and then you consider how you're feeling, and you identify the part of your body where you feel that emotion. And some people may say, man, it feels good. I feel my heart gets warm, right? Or I just feel I just feel warm all over my chest when I think about the love I have for my child, or my newborn baby, or my spouse. And so you identify that, right? That emotion. And then you move to another emotion, and you talk about fear. Okay, and you think about a fearful situation. Maybe it could be a near, whatever it is that causes you to fear. Maybe you're afraid of heights, right? And so you think of yourself, I am afraid of heights, by the way. So you think of heights and you say, okay, I was there, what happened? And then you identify that emotion. And where are you feeling? What are you feeling? I feel I can't breathe. I feel I can't breathe. I feel my head spinning, right? You identify that and you write it down. And then anger. So you work through the emotions. You work through them and you identify them. And then throughout your day, you can check in. Do a little check in. Do a little check in with yourself. And you say, okay, how am I feeling right now? And you relax and you say, I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling my heart um maybe feeling full. I'm feeling, and so you start identifying those emotions. Okay, so this is how my heart feels when I am anxious. What am I anxious about? You want to be in tune with your body. You want to be asking yourself throughout the day, how am I feeling? So right now I want you to ask yourselves how you're feeling. Just take a moment and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? Is it tension? Is it calm? Is it anxiety, worry? Right? You want to identify your emotions. You want to know how you're feeling. You want to be checking with your body as you go along. And then some of the emotions will not be pleasant. Some of them will be unpleasant. How are you dealing with the unpleasant emotions? Are you eating? Are you trying to distract yourself? Are you trying to suppress them? Or are you doing what people who are well does? You're facing them. Most of the time, we're not facing them. We're eating, we're trying to distract ourselves, we're suppressing them, we're doing anything except what we're supposed to do. So face your unpleasant emotions. If you're feeling anxious and it's an unpleasant feeling, face it. Why am I anxious? And what am I going to do about it? And stop burying your emotions. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense to you. If this makes sense to you, just give me a thumbs up. Check in with your body. Check your shoulder. How's my shoulder? Is it loose? Is it free? Is it tense? Just how is my shoulder? How is my stomach? Does it feel queasy or does it feel relaxed? Does it feel, how's my breathing? How's my breathing? Check in with your body. How's my breathing? Am I breathing free? Right? Do you know that there are times when if you really check your breathing, you will find that not both your nostrils are free and you're not breathing as free as you can. So sometimes you do this, you hold one and you inhale and you say, okay, good. And you might be surprised to find when you do the next one, it's not free. You feel the difference between how you're breathing through one, but you're not if you're not checking in with your body. And if you feel you're not breathing free, that means something. What does it mean? It means I need a break. It means I'm stressed. What does it mean? Right? Checking with your thoughts. What am I thinking about right now? And don't let your mind wander. Focus on what you're thinking. Because most of the time when the unpleasant thoughts come, we think about something else. It's like, no, I don't think about that right now. I can't. Right? And it's not helping. It's not helping. So think about it. What am I thinking about? Check in with your body. Check in with your body. Checking with your body. There are things that you can do to slow down and to enjoy mindful living, to be present. In the mornings, I always believe great days start with great mornings. Some people are not morning persons. You can't ask them to wake up in the morning and have a great day. So they're evening person. That's fine. If you're an evening person or you're a morning person, that's fine. But whatever kind of person you are, make sure that you are doing some things that are mindful, that are present. So in the morning, instead of grabbing your coffee to go and rushing through, try to get up a little earlier if you're a morning person and take the time to sip your coffee. Don't sip your coffee while scrolling through Facebook and doing all. Enjoy the coffee. Think about the flavor. Mm, let the aroma just get to you. Just pay attention to how it feels in your mouth, right? The smell, the taste, right? Just breathe in deeply and enjoy. You know that cup of coffee, even if it's one of those, the little one we buy in the shop, the Buendia, is going to taste like you're drinking some of the best Colombian coffee. Simply because you took the time to be mindful instead of rushing, rushing, rushing. Same thing with when you're eating sometimes. You won't always have that luxury. But do you know that you actually eat less when you eat mindfully instead of rushing through your meal and gulping it down? When you're conscious of what you're eating and how the food tastes and how you are eating less. Try it, I guarantee you. I will share with you a video that proves this. You eat less when you eat a lot, it's because you're not mindful of what you're eating. You just continue eating, eating, eating until the plate is empty. I say, sometimes there are people who say, I done? I never even realized I finished. I could have swear there was another piece of meat on my plate. I've seen that. In fact, it has happened to me once or twice. Now, how can you? It's unconscious living. It's unconscious living, and it's killing us, right? Walk mindfully by listening to the different sounds, by seeing people, right? By actually noticing things. Just notice things around you. Just notice, right? You don't have to try and figure nothing out. Just notice it. Notice there's a crowd here. A crowd. Oh, they painted that building. It wasn't that way, right? Don't just go through life, just keep going. Be mindful and be present, be there, right? Don't try to escape to the don't think about the past, don't worry about the future. You want to be living for today. You really want to be living for today, right? These are some of the things that I want to be sharing with you. We don't have a lot of time left, so I'll skip through these, but this entire presentation will be available for you, and I'll tell you how. You want to also learn how to say no to certain people and things and events. You want to learn how to say no. Are there those who constantly are asking you to do things and you're like, you want to say no, but you don't know how to say no? That's also a reason why we feel stressed sometimes. So find out the things that works for you. What works for you? What is your go-to when you are feeling stressed? What works for you? You want to have a list of those things and you want to be using them, right? What works for you? You need to know what works for you. And then you need to be doing it. You need to be doing it. I want to skip to the end of our presentation by encouraging you to do two things. One, build a network of support. Build your network of support. We are not islands. It's one of the hardest things for many of us to do is to ask for help. To ask for help. Raise your hand if you are like me and you find it hard to ask others for help. It's a difficult thing to do. And it's one of the reasons why we're living the way we are. We must learn how to ask for help. And the only way we can do this is if you build your support network. Find out who are those people. You should have a circle, even if it's a small circle of people you can call on. But you can't just call on them when you need them. That's not support. It's a network of people that you are there for them, they are there for you. You call them, you check on them, and you don't just pick up the phone when you need something. Do you have people like that in your life? You look at the phone and you say, "Oh my gosh, what does Shanali want now?" Because anytime Shanali pick up this phone, it's because Shanali wants something. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the person who is there for them, and you're building this network. You're checking in on them. And then when you need the help, you're not afraid to call. And so you want to have that. And in your self care plan, this is something that you will be doing. I'm sharing with you a workbook after this, and you work through the workbook. And you want to have a self care plan. You want to know what your signs of burnout. You want to know what your stress relievers, what works for you. You want to know, you want to list those three people you can call on, and you want to make sure you build that network, a strong network where you're supporting them and they're supporting you. And in your helpful reminders, you want to have positive quotes. You want to put a go to quote there, whatever it is that works for you, right? For me, it is, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." It doesn't have to be a Bible based quote. Whatever positive affirmation you have that you can write there, you have your self care plan. We have many plans, but we hardly ever do a self care plan. And you put that somewhere where you can see it on your wall, next to your desk, somewhere. And this is my self care plan. And it's a reminder to you to take care of yourself. You need to be taking care of yourself. For the next 7 days, what I want you to do is to move from unconscious to conscious living. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to be journaling to balance. And each day, I want you to commit at least 15 minutes to a self care activity. Do it regardless. It's going to take some time. Maybe tomorrow you forget, but I'm going to remind you so you won't forget. And I guarantee you, of the over 200 um, participants that has taken this journey, I tell you, the feedback from them has been overwhelming as they started to realize that the way they are living, they simply cannot continue. It was unsustainable. They were not happy. They were stressed. They were always tired. And so I asked them, take 15 minutes. Some of them took 30, 45, whatever your day allows. And they just did something for them for 7 days. For 7 days. Here is a few of what they shared, and they gave me permission to share without using their name, right? Somebody said, "Today I decided to go and visit a coworker." And so I did, and we spent, the evening catching up. We drank some margaritas. We did, and this is the part that got to me. She said that it's so sad that this person lives on the next street from me, and yet I hardly go. I hardly go. And so now I'm making a promise that I'm going to visit her more often, right? This is conscious living. And this is really how life is supposed to be, right? This is what she said, that she found herself outside, more. She was outside with the boys and she was playing football and she was laughing. She allowed herself to just chill on the ground. If you fall, you fall. Do we do this? No, I'm too professional for that, right? I don't do the okay. Go ahead. You're going to be stressed, and you know what's going to be the end result of that? Chronic stress and all the other ailments. And even her neighbors were surprised when they looked out and said, is that Laura? I can't believe that's Laura rolling over laughing. They were not used to seeing her like this, right? But she was enjoying that. That was like, and when I read these, it fills my heart with joy to see the benefit of just consciously letting go. And I gave them a day where I said, do something silly. Just do something silly, right? Don't do something stupid. There's a big difference between stupid and silly. Do something silly. Just something silly. Promise me that day you would do something silly. And she said, I just put on some music and dance. I put on my clothes back way. I just put on my clothes backward and I made my hair in a crazy hairdo, right? And my husband thought I was getting crazy, but I'm sure her husband was like, this is strange. This is different. And he noticed, right? And it was fun. It was fun. We tend to let go of these things. We tend to let go of things that really relaxes us, eases our soul, because we are so busy with life and strife and going and going and going. The goal of this session, of this journey, is to help us to find our true meaning, to find ourselves, to find that our days can be filled with moments of peace, of joy, of loving ourselves and others. Because the only way we can truly be compassionate is through self awareness. If we are not fully aware of who we are and living conscious lives, we cannot, we absolutely cannot be the best self for others, to show things like compassion and to have that joy, that overwhelming joy. And so when you see people miserable, and always drained and tired, it's not their fault. They have not yet learned the joy of living a conscious life. And so we're going on this journey this week. And I will share with you the journal. And I want you to do the activity and each day write down in your journal. You could write down in your journal book, or you can use the slot that's provided in the workbook that I will send you, and tell me, what did you do that day? Did you go exercising? Did you go for a walk? Did you plant some flowers? Did you play in the dirt? Did you just sit on the step and drink your coffee? What is it that you did? But more importantly, how did this activity make you feel? How did you feel doing this thing? It's called wellness, and we are on a journey. I want you to be well. We need to be well. So, this is our first lesson, and I would love to hear from you. With your permission, I would like to add you to a group chat. And the reason for the group chat is simply so that you can share your journey. If you feel comfortable enough being in the group, the other group has about 35 and we're going to merge them. And so I want to just add you to the WhatsApp chat. And as you go about your day doing these things, I want you to share snippets of your day so that we can encourage each other and build that community of support. So people start saying, hey, I can do that. Sometimes maybe they didn't get a break that day to do something. Just reading what you did might bring a smile to their face, may cause them to relax, and may encourage somebody. You never ever know who you can encourage. And I do want to encourage you to start your journey, not just for you, but you want to be well so that you can in turn help other to start their journey. All right? Any feedback, any comments, drop it in the chat. We're done for today, but this is not the last you'll hear from me. I'm going to be creating the group, and after the session this evening, and I get permission from the others, if you don't want to be in the group, if you're not somebody who feel comfortable being in the group, you could just say, Miss Neil, I prefer not to be in the group, and I will respect that. And then you just communicate with me personally. But I can guarantee you, the benefits of being in the group is tremendous, and you do not want to miss out on that opportunity to give as well as to receive. You will see the difference it's going to make in your everyday life. And so for the next 7 days, I want you to do this. Just journey with me. Just journey with me. Um, one, if you are logged in and you're not using your name, please send me a little WhatsApp. Let me know that you were present, that you were here, and so I can tag you off as being present, okay? And I want to continue to follow you on this journey to wellness. All right? Thank you so much for your time, for agreeing to spend this hour with me. I know you are, like we all are, living some busy lives, but this is what we do. And we find, when I find something beautiful, I want to share it. And I know what this journey has done for me, and I want to ensure that you too. I'm still on the journey. It's a journey, and this journey does not end until the day we take our last breath. But what happens while we live is that we should be living our best lives. And this is going to help you to do just that. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Please have a great day. Go out, do something, just do something.